G'day YouTube, TheDoleBludgers here for our finals tips. We're going to do similar format to how we did at the start of the year. If you did watch the start of the year tips, you'll know that we all kind of tipped Collingwood to win the premiership. The question is though, has that changed? We'll find out. Shall we do my finals or your finals first?
You can go for it.
Alright, first final at the MCG is Collingwood versus Melbourne. Probably going to be a ripper of a game. Coming into this game, you'd think that Collingwood would be the favourites, but they're kind of coming in as underdogs without Nick Dacross.
Very strange, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
But you know what? I'm still going to go for him. I'm still going to go Collingwood for this game. Honestly, no logic behind it. I just think that this final series is going to be a finals of upsets. I think it's going to be one of those kind of years.
Fair.
Speaking of upsets, in my first elimination final, I have Sydney beating Carlton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Sydney's a bit more experienced in finals, as you've probably noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have no actual reason for this one at all. It's just I don't think Carlton's as good as people are making it out to be. When I watch their games, they still feel kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
No, that's fair.
My second elimination final is GWS defeating St Kilda. GWS is in better form. St Kilda's, they're in decent form right now, but GWS's form is just so much better than St Kilda's.
Fair. Yeah.
For my first qualifying final, at the Gabba, I've got Brisbane losing. I'm going Port. I'm going Port for this one.
All the upsets.
Yeah, all the upsets. I think Port is hungry. I think they are hungry for a premiership, and I think this game will prove that.
Fair.
Obviously going to come as underwhelming, unfavourites, because obviously it's Brisbane at the fucking Gabba.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hard game for Port, that much certain, but I reckon they can do it. I reckon they'll beat Brisbane.
Fair.
For my first semi, I've got Melbourne beating Sydney.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, just beat them in the last round, so...
Yeah. Melbourne's much better than Sydney at the moment.
Yeah.
Don't really need to say much on that one. For my second semi-final, I have Brisbane beating GWS.
Also makes sense.
Yeah, it'll be at the Gabba. It's Brisbane.
Yeah.
But, you know what? GWS, they wouldn't surprise me if they did well.
Yeah.
It is. I think they did beat Brisbane at the Gabba in the semi-final 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They beat them by 3 points, I think it was.
Shit.
That was the year that GWS went on to get into the grand final, and that was from 6 on the ladder.
Wow.
So you never know with GWS.
Yeah.
For my first prelim is Collingwood versus Brisbane. Because it's at the MCG, you've got to tip Collingwood.
Yeah.
Brisbane's form, MCG, not great, but they'll put up a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to tip Collingwood on that one. For my second prelim, also probably at the MCG, let's be honest. No, sorry. That would be at Adelaide Oval because Port did win the prelim. I got Port beating Melbourne.
Fair. Port Collingwood grand final?
Port Collingwood grand final. They have been the two best teams all year.
Yeah, pretty much. There was that long stretch where they were literally
Yeah, it's kind of like 2021 vibes with Melbourne and Western Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Even though Western Bulldogs were fifth, they were still the second best team all year.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of vibe I'm getting with Port this year. So, Port versus Collingwood grand final, and I've tipped Port Adelaide. I have tipped Port Adelaide to win the premiership this year.
The hunger?
The hunger. They are so damn hungry, man.
Yeah.
They're not as good as, say, Collingwood, let's be honest, or pretty much any other team on that list. But they're the hungriest on the list. That's why I reckon they'll win it.
Fair.
Norm Smith medal. I've got Connor Rozee.
Oh, wow.
I think he's been very impressive this year.
He has.
Obviously, Butters is getting all the praise, but Rozee has been pretty much as good as Butters, to be honest.
To be honest, yeah. I agree. Wow.
Well, those are my tips for the finals.
Yeah, very interesting. I think we're similar in a lot of cases, and then obviously not so similar in
Probably
some.
different towards the end.
Yeah. So,
let's find out.
I like your tips.
All right, cheers.
So, the first quarterfinal is going to be Collingwood versus Melbourne, obviously. Don't really need to rehash what he's already mentioned. But yeah, I have Collingwood winning here by about 5 points. I think, again, they're just too I think they're just too good. Obviously, they've slowed down a little bit towards the end of the year here, but the injuries haven't helped that. I just think Collingwood's just such a good fucking team. Like, I've been riding them all year. Even at the start of the year, in the early predictions, I had them winning the grand final, I had them coming first. So, Collingwood for me. Elimination final, the first one, we've got Carlton versus Sydney, and I have Carlton defeating Sydney by 12 points, so that's where we're starting to differ a little bit here.
Bit of a difference there?
Yeah.
What's your logic behind it?
Oh, I just think, Carlton in the form they're in, they're playing down here at the MCG. I just think Carlton's just too good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Second elimination final, which could be a little bit, I've got Saints defeating the GWS Giants by 6 points. I just think, again, it's going to be a very, very hard game. And the way that Saints took it up to Brisbane, that was very, very oh, wow. I feel like they have a good chance here. Obviously, GWS have a very, very good chance here to win. But I just want to see Saints win, man. For my dad, obviously I don't see them going too far, but it's been a very, very good year for them. Not many people probably had them in the top 8, and they've done really well under Ross Lyon.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
And the last couple of games by St Kilda have been pretty damn good.
Yeah. Second quarter final, we have Lions versus Port, and I've got obviously Lions defeating Port by about 18 points. So just, again, Lions at the Gabba. I don't think Port's beaten them there for quite a while. So yeah. First semi-final is going to be the D's versus Carlton, and I've got the D's beating Carlton here by 7 points. I just think, again, D's are just that little bit better. I think they're just a little bit better than Carlton, but good effort for them for making the finals. I just think Melbourne, they've got that finals experience under their belt. This is Carlton's first time being in the finals in 20 years or something like that. So yeah.
Oh, they'll 2013.
Oh, but that was that whole weird thing where they were ninth.
Essendon, yeah.
So I don't know if I'll count that, but yeah, I think they did win a final.
They did win their first final.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a long time ago. D's obviously a lot more current. Second semi-final, got Port versus St Kilda. It's going to be at the Adelaide Oval, so you just got to go Port here, unfortunately, for St Kilda. I'm going to be going Port by 26 points. I just think, again, they're just too good. The first prelim is going to be Collingwood versus Port. So unfortunately, our tips are kind of differing here.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. We've got Collingwood defeating Port, though. I think Collingwood just too good. Probably going to have Nick Dacos back at this point. So 18-point victors, I think. Preliminary final number 2, we've got Lions versus the D's. Again, probably going to be at the Gabba. And I just think the Lions going to be too good for the D's this time. They had a very, very close match earlier in the year at the MCG where the D's, crazy comeback win. But up here at the Gabba, I think Lions are just going to be too good. Win by 13 points. So we're going to be getting a Collingwood versus Brisbane Lions grand final. And I'm just going to stick to my guns here. I think Collingwood's going to win the grand final in a very, very close affair. 4 points. We haven't seen one in a long time. I think it was Collingwood West Coast was the last time we saw a grand final that was close.
You've got to give it to Collingwood. They do make good grand finals. They make them entertaining.
Very exciting. They've been exciting all year. I love their very close wins that they get. And I've got Norm Smith medalist Nick Dacos. So, that's who I predicted at the start of the year. That's who I think is going to win it this year. So. Yeah, thoughts?
It's a hard final series. It really is.
It is. It's just exciting. It's what you want.
That is very true. It is an exciting finals. There's no real dominant team this year.
Yeah, Collingwood were for a while, but they obviously have dropped off a bit. So
a bit different
it's
now.
A lot more balanced and even now. Going to make it for an exciting race.
You getting 2018 vibes?
I reckon. That was good.
That being said, though, a lot of the top 4 this year is very similar to 2002. That was the great left foot snap Ackermanis grand final.
Yeah.
So your grand final might be a rehash of that. So you never know.
Crazy.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. Fuck yourself.